Thank you for having me here. And so maybe, I just introduce myself. So I'm Ondrej Florian, and I'm solution consultant uh, working for Adobe. And I'm active in the central region, which is actually Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, Poland, but also Russia, um, Turkey. So it's actually quite a big region. Um, and although I'm located in Switzerland, I'm Czech originally. So I could actually understand which you were talking about. But don't ask me to speak Russian. Okay, so the presentation is going to be about personalized customer journey. And before I get into the presentation and into the demo, I would like to set it in kind of a wider context. Because we all hear about personalization, and it's something very cool and very kind of catchy and shiny to show, right? Uh, but why do we actually personalize? Why do we personalize content? It should really be about the customers, to help them, to guide them, to guide them to find what they are really looking for, because as you probably know or experience yourself, I mean, we are just overloaded with content, right? So no matter what website you go to, it's just so much content you have to click through, and it's very hard to navigate yourself through it. So personalization is really a way how you help a customer to find what he is looking for. And uh, basically, if you make this a smooth experience, you will make the customer happy, and he will become your loyal customer. So now, customer journey, I mean, it is a fancy word, but at the end, it actually describes something really fundamental. It's, when you are looking for a product or looking for basically anything, how do you find it? How do you evaluate it? How do you buy it? So it's really very closely related to user experience. Now, from customer point of view, um, whether you are buying a bread or you are buying a house, it pretty much starts the same, right? So first of all, you have a need, right? And then you search for a product to fulfill it. And yeah, you may search in different ways, right? When it is digital, you really search, maybe you Google it. And then once you find it, you start considering, is this right for me? And so you are facing different choices, and you start to compare. You do a research, you talk to your friends, um, and you read reviews, right? So you search some more, essentially. And at one point, you are going to make a decision, whatever that means. You are going to make a decision, and this decision is really a mix of kind of a rational and emotional reasons, right? So the rational is usually related to price or features, but you start to think also, is this, do I actually like the product? And also you start to think, do I actually like the company that is presenting the product? So the whole experience really adds up together, because at the end, you hopefully buy it, right? Now, so from the customer point of view, it's rather simple, right? It's really series of steps, and it's kind of one process. You don't really think about too much what website you go to or what channel you use to actually make your decision or whatever, right? It's kind of linear, and that's why it should be one smooth user experience. From the marketeer's point of view, it is much, much more complex. Because, first of all, this whole process is spread out through multiple days. Well, it very much, relates to what product you are talking about, but usually it really can take, some days, sometimes even, months or weeks when you are talking about big purchases, and it is incredibly unpredictable from marketeers' point of view, because nowadays we have all these different interaction points that we have to cover to to cover the entire customer journey. So what is even more challenging is that not everything is under your direct control, right? So we have our own channels, right? Those are the channels that we own, we control, our websites or landing pages or mobile applications, and that's fine. But actually, this is not where our customer is going to spend the most amount of time, because the most amount of time he's going to spend out of our site, right? Off-site, and that's probably where he's going to do his thinking and his consideration, right? And so anyways, we try to reach him there as well, so we can place advertising, the search ads, display ads, and usually we pay for them, right? And it is really to remind customer maybe of the products that we carry, or even products that he would be interested in, right? Or just to spread a general awareness who we are. And then also there is a social media, and the social media plays incredibly important role. And unlike the advertisements, this is something that we cannot really buy. We have to earn, right? So this is something which is kind of impossible really to control. However, what we do and we should do, we can use it to influence our customers, right? So we engage them directly, we answer their queries, we see what they are looking for, and this is incredibly important because this is where the customer is going to do their research most likely and form his opinion. And it is also important for another reason. This is a great channel to learn about our customers. So we do all of it to essentially try to bring the customer to our site and use whatever we learned off-site about the customer to personalize the user experience and to guide him the most efficiently. Now, to demonstrate this point, I kind of set up a use case example, and it's about a customer. It is customer that is going to go online. It is a retail site, and he's going to find the product that he's looking for and eventually buy it. It's from customer's point of view, and it's rather high level. And if you are wondering where does the AEM fit in, first of all, it's basically the platform that all these different experiences that you are going to see are generated from, right? So it plays a very, very central part in the whole story, and it's also where the personalization is taking place. The use case example is kind of spread across 6 days, right? Well, you don't have to stay here 6 days, but it is just kind of easier to show the entire user experience. So I can show it in individual chunks, and also I mean, this is this is really mimicking the real-time, real world example, right? Because normally you do take some time to decide on, if you are going to purchase the product or not. Now, just word of caution, pay special attention to the visuals, because this is obviously where the personalization is taking place. So let's start. So the day one. So now I'm going home. I'm sitting on a tram, and it's Friday. So I have a lot of time on my hands, and thinking about my free time. And I actually get a flyer, at the station, for example. And this is actually a totally non-digital way to start the journey, right? I mean, it is a paper, right? But it's actually still very, very effective way, because this is perfect way how you can actually spread the word around. That's something new is happening, and this is a flyer which is promoting We Retail site, and it says We Retail is going all digital. Come to our site and see what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting in this tram, so I use this QR code there. I scan it, and it takes me to the We Retail site. And this is I don't have any previous relationship with this site. I never heard about it before. This is the first time I'm looking at this site. So actually, the site doesn't know anything about me. So it offers me kind of the default experience, right? Yet it's already personalized in slight way, right? It's, for example, showing the mobile layout, right, which is obvious, and it's also showing these kind of mountains and snow, because it's winter season. So why not, and you could even go further. I could imagine you could use, for example, geolocation to personalize the site. So you can actually personalize without ever knowing anything about the customer. So that's great. So now I start browsing the site, and one thing that you will probably notice right away. I mean, although this is a retail site, there are no products. Right? There are no products. The only thing that I see on this first site are stories, and these stories are actually quite cool. And what is very important from the marketer's point of view is that you actually do not know much about the user, so you can let user to show you what he's interested in. So as he's browsing the site, you're gathering analytics. But this is happening behind the scenes. And also another reason why We Retail is showing the stories is that because it is a kind of upmarket site, and their vision is kind of to sell experiences connected to the products rather than products themselves. So that's great. It works for me. So the first story I look at is this skiing deep powder in Siberia, which sounds really nice and cool. But then after a while I actually switched to another story, which kind of jumps at me. It's about surfing in Norway, and that catches my interest because I never thought that it would be possible to surf in Norway. So this is something that I will read on a little bit more about, and maybe I'll just email the story link to myself to just as a reminder, right? Now the second day. It is a weekend, so I'm sitting home. I have my laptop, and suddenly, it just spring to my mind, oh well, let's go back and check out that we retail again, or maybe I open the link that I mailed to myself, and so I end up back on the main page of the site, the home page, and as you can see, it's very, very different from the page you've seen before, right? It's heavily personalized. Of course, it is a version which is from desktop, but just look at the banner. I mean, it's not about the snow. It is not about the mountains. It's about surfing, right? And it's not everything. I mean, you see also for the first time, you see, these recommended products, which are the surfboards. And, why is this? Because of my previous behavior. So, what happened behind the scenes is that, on the mobile, while I was, where I was, reading the stories, I mean, I established a certain behavior, right? I looked, obviously, I was interested in stories about surfing. And, thanks to Adobe Device Corp, I was able to link my mobile device to my laptop, right? And keep in mind that I've never looked at the site before using my laptop, right? This is the first time, but this is something that the Adobe Device Corp would enable you to do, and use the behavior and kind of present it on the desktop side as well, right? Now, so this works rather well for me. So I just continue my research into the surfboards, and this is where I see all the different products, right? And I can cross compare and check the prices. And another thing that I see here are stories of users, of real users who are using these products, and they are surfing around the world. And this is great stuff, because I can actually take this great content created by users, real people using the real products, and take them from the social media sites and integrate them into my site, right? And it's great for me because I don't have to go off-site and search for it myself. It's all in one place. Right? Now, day 3. It's Sunday, and actually, today I'm not thinking about surfing at all. And what I do, I have this nice fashion site, believe it or not, that I like, and I read frequently, and it's actually about female fashion, about women fashion. And so I look at the articles, and maybe I read some blogs, and and chat a little bit. And actually, you know what? This is not related to retail at all, right? Yet it plays a very, very important role in the days to follow. And it is because it establishes a behavior, right? And it is a behavior which happens off-site, yet it is incredibly important behavior. So keep this in mind. Day 4. So let's say, this is a Monday, and, I come back to the site, and what happens? It's again, the site is totally different, right? The URL is the same. I mean, I just bookmarked it, and, I came back to it, right? But it's totally different. It is heavily personalized now. And, remember this banner? There was just a surfer, right? and you had, these different boards there. And now the new banner is actually a female surfer. And you have, not only a surfboards there, but you have different products which are recommended for women. And, so what happened there? The thing is that, what we did is, it's all about the data. It is all about the behavior, which is, sourced from all kinds of different sources. So, we covered the first party data, right? That's our own data. That's the data which was tracked through analytics, or created through the analytics on our side. But we can also source behavior data from social networks to personalize our site further. And this is exactly what happened, and why this blog site about the female fashion was so important, because suddenly we were able to complete the view of the customer even more, right? And now, this behavior, it is actually something which is recorded with your permission, and it is recorded by Facebook and Google, and by other social media networks, and it is sold to other companies, right? And by the way, this is not a personal information. It is a behavior information. So, there is no notion of me in this. And by the way, I'm not even a female, right? I'm bald, ugly looking male, right? But, I exhibited a certain behavior. So, the behavior doesn't necessarily have to map into, my personal information at all. But when you actually think about it, it is so much powerful, right? Because maybe I'm searching a board for my wife, right, or a girlfriend. So, and now another thing to mention is that this behavior data, it is modeled. It's not 100% accurate, and it cannot be accurate. But it is accurate enough to be used for personalization. So again, think back, why do we do personalization? To guide you, right? To help you to go a little bit further. And that's exactly what the purpose of this was, right? So, I go on a shopping, and I actually, this time I choose a board that I really, really like, and it is this neutrino board. And I may even, add it into my cart, but, at one point I just close the browser because, maybe I think, well, yes, I still have to think about it a little bit more. So day 5. Now I'm back on a site again, right? And it is a slow day, and, maybe I'm browsing a news site. I read some news, but, what do I see there? I see an offer there, right? And it is a special deal. And I'm not sure if you noticed that, but the original price of the neutrino board was $6.95. So this is actually a really good deal. And this is coming as a banner ad. And this is again a site. It is a news site. It is not controlled by me, but it basically uses a display ads, and displays the display ads for the given segments which I'm part of. So this is just enough to win me over and buy the product. It reminds me about the product I was looking at, for example, right? And you know what? It is such a good deal that I click on it, and it takes me back into the V-Retail site. And as you can see, the price is personalized for me, right? This is this new price. If someone else would search for the neutrino board, they would get, you know, the full price, you know, $6.95. So, you know, this is very personalized. This is one-to-one personalization. And I like the price, I like the board, and you know what, I'm going to buy it. So at this point, you know, I'm ready to fill in the contact and payment information. And this is actually, you know, where I have to log in, right? And this is very much the first time the site asks me for any personal information, right? And this is necessary for me to complete the purchase. Now, this is also the first time when the anonymous user profile that was gathered from, you know, behavior data, which was, you know, on-site and off-site, and, you know, where I indicated my product preferences and so on and so on, and which is totally anonymous, it doesn't have a name, is actually, you know, matched together with my named profile, you know, where I inserted my payment information, my contact information, email, and, you know, all of it is combined together, right? And it really forms a one unified profile. And so, you know, some time later, you know, I actually received my board, and with this, you know, the story is over, right? Well, not quite, right? So 25 days later or 20 days later, you know, I receive an email. And, you know, this email basically, it is about, you know, getting ready for the winter season. And, you know, it is showing me, you know, all these different products that I may be interested in. And you may be asking, you know, why winter season? Why, you know, skis? And so, well, when you think back, that was very first article I actually was reading about, right? It was about skiing in Siberia. And so as you can see, you know, the profile, the behavior that I exhibited when I was a anonymous user, you know, got translated and matched with my named profile, so that when, you know, we retail is sending me offers, this information is used to personalize the content on an email. And with that, that's the real end, perhaps, right? Now, you may be asking, okay, well, you know, from the marketing point of view, this makes, you know, perfect sense. But, you know, how is this kind of related to me, right? You know, I'm, let's say, on the AEM side, so I'm on the content side. How is this related to me? Well, the thing is, you know, when you think, when you have to, you know, personalize the customer journey, you personalize by using content. So, and there is a lot of it, right? There is a lot of content, and, you know, this content must be available on all these different channels. So, you know, just think about, you know, all these different transcoding and you know, resizing so it fits for the right device and for the right channel. And, you know, so it's a lot of it. You know, it really starts with the prints. It continues with the articles, with the photos, with the videos, movies. You know, you have to design and manage your banners and ads and advertisements, and, you know, the product shows. And, you know, this is it's something which really is used to create these experiences, right? Because, you know, the assets are not enough. You have to create, you have to combine the assets to create the experiences. And so on one hand, right, you know, you have this machine that, you know, generates and creates the content as the creative cloud, but then you have, you know, the management aspect of it, and that's, the experience, Adobe Experience Manager, which comes to it and which kind of makes sure that these experiences are sent to or delivered to all these different channels that we have. And so when you look at it again, going back to the customer journey, and you see this journey which goes through the awareness and consideration and purchase and loyalty and back and forth. You have all these different logos that you see here, and those are different solutions, Adobe solutions, which are used to cover those points. But there is one solution which appears in all of them, and that's actually again the AEM, the Experience Manager, because that's really the foundation, the digital foundation, of all these different experiences, and makes sharing the content so much easier, and target and personalizing content so much easier. So that's why AEM. And with that, this is end of my talk, and I guess this is time to take questions.